while the slide's coming on, just say that I'm an imposter here. I don't know anything about AI. The only code I know is the 6-digit code to my bank account, which I won't be sharing. But I got in early into AI when I think I was one of the first in Singapore to buy the paid version. So I must make a disclaimer that everything that I talk about is based on the highest level ChatGPT that's available. So we've been over the last 1 year working quite hard at integrating generative AI for the common people. I come from Yishun, the small village up north in Singapore, for those who don't know. So I had to leave very early to come here. So I don't know much about what goes behind the computational algorithms about AI, but I just know how to use it. So my concept is very simple. I do not know how to make a char kway teow, but I know what a good char kway teow is. So that one, I'm an expert at that. So I'm an application specialist. I'm a UNESCO Chair partner. So the UNESCO group is part of the United Nations, is responsible to provide global collaboration for harnessing innovation. So the APU Chair at there's Asia Pacific University in Malaysia has got a UNESCO Chair. I'm a senior partner with that. And what they have done is this chair is responsible for harnessing innovation and digital technology for education. So we've been training faculty development programs around the world. And up to date, we have trained about more than 4,300 people. So this is the team, this is the functional unit. So I called it the Strategic Education Unit. So I wrote a book on MBA for healthcare. And from Percy Barnabik, who was the ABB chair, who turned around one of the biggest industry corporate body by creating the Strategic Business Unit. The people on the ground who do work, you work with them, they will sort it out. So in terms of education, we need to work with the three main stakeholders in education: the teacher, the learner, and the employer, right? So these are the important aspects. So this is our team. We have based at Asia Pacific University. So what we did was, because we went in early into generative AI into education generally, so we ran a stakeholder engagement summit in May this year in collaboration with the Ministers of Education of Southeast Asia and with the Ministry of Science and Technology in Malaysia. And this is the thing that we did it was part of a participatory action research. I designed it in such a way that we wanted to collect data. So we analyzed 651 faculty teachers from around ASEAN region, a lot of contribution from Philippines, Indonesia, very little from Singapore, because Singapore doesn't need to be part of it because we are way ahead in Singapore. And we analyzed those ideas, concerns, and expectations of teachers on the ground, and we brought them. So we brought 181 participants into Kuala Lumpur, and we sat with them, and we did a stakeholder engagement over 2 days. And these are the main themes that came out of it. So we were on the right track. What we were doing as the APU chair was to establish resource centers. So which I'll come and share with you how we achieved that. We started doing training programs for faculty development into integrating generative AI into their practice and to teach about AI literacy. So I'll show you what we have done. So part of this, we wanted to be evidence-based. So we did a narrative review, a scoping review on the literature and how AI is used. So this was done about 6 months ago. We've got 90 papers, the largest ever review we have done. So we had a team of researchers who went through. And these are the main themes that came out from the literature. And you can see the investment in education is important. Again, it validates what we were doing was the right thing. So we kind of did this process. So we used the design and development framework on Ritchie and Klein, which is quite similar to design thinking from Stanford. So we did an analysis as we went along. We didn't do it in a linear fashion. We just kind of ran some pilot workshops. So we got a learning needs analysis from the faculty. Mainly, we started with the faculty at Asia Pacific University, which is the University of Innovation and Technology. So we understood what was going on. So a lot of them showed they did not know how to prompt. They did not know how to validate. So these are two important aspects of generative AI, prompting and validation. So we designed and developed modules with 5 expert panels who were from technology, who were from education, and who had instructional design. I have both education and instructional design credentials. And then we designed the program and we developed it. So we developed all our modules based with SCORM compliant authoring tools so that they're available online so we could do a blended learning. So we went through the phases where we used expert review panels. So the five of us had collectively over 140 years of experience in education and technology and instructional design. And we made sure that our modules, both in content, structure, and delivery, were educationally sound, based on sound instructional design principles. And then we launched workshops. So we didn't wait till we became perfect. So we did the prototype, we rapidly deployed them. The first workshop was done in May 2023, and from which I have got a few people who have come repeatedly for the same workshops, and I asked them, why the hell are you coming? And they said, well, you keep changing the topic. This is the first time in 44 years in my practice that every time I give the same lecture, I have to change my slides because the technology is changing, the application is changing. I keep finding new applications. So we have been piloting it and we've been running these workshops. But we made sure that every workshop had resources. So I'm an ardent fan of open educational resources that are available for free. So we created online modules, so online modules that they can access freely. And we also created traditional resources like books. So we have about 8 books that we have written. And we also created RAG chatbots. Not only we created RAG chatbots, which I think has been explained. So these are personalized chatbots. Now, the importance of RAG chatbots is, I hope you all understand that this is an energy-intensive generative AI platforms. It's the largest consumer of energy in the world. As a result of this, Microsoft year before last employed nuclear physicists because Microsoft is going to build an atomic plant to supply energy to them. And it also consumes a lot of water. So please don't use generative AI to find out where's the best char kway teow in Yishun, because it should not be using that. You're using a lot of energy. Anyway, we created chatbots. So these RAG chatbots use low energy because it has its own knowledge base. I think what Prof. Nyam has been explaining to you, that's what it do. So we train our participants to create RAG chatbots for your own area. If you're doing proctology, you can create your own RAG chatbot. And then we do bespoke training. So we do training in accordance to what the learners want. So we can do it on the spot, we can do it in advance. So as a result of which, we have now produced a portfolio of products that we empower educators with, and we have run around the world. So in Sri Lanka, we did very well. In March, we ran a workshop of 500 educators, 50 of them enroll into our Train the Trainer program, because the only way you can scale this is to have others train them. These are our a basic core. We have about 12 modules. The one that I am actively involved with is the one in boxed in red. So AI Gold, I ran this on Monday in Penang at the ASEAN Conference of Aging. This is for gerontology, for both patients and for healthcare professionals who look after them. AI LD is learning design. So this is part of instructional design. The new word is learning, not instructional. And this I've been doing with NSG for the last 7-8 years. Now we have incorporated an AI component to it. AI for health professionals, the most popular one. So we run this with NSG, and we run this around the world. AI RE is AI for research. So the next one is on the 17th in APU. AI AW is AI for academic writing, write a paper in a day. And AI Leap is for efficiency and productivity. So these are the modules. We have one for lawyers, we have one for judges, we have for C-suite. So a lot of C-suite people don't know what AI is. They pretend they know, but we need to teach them quietly without telling them. So these are the resources that we have developed through this DDR framework. On the left, on my left, are the online modules. So we have created online modules that are freely accessible. If you are interested, you check with me, I'll give you the QR code. On the right is the books that we have created. They're all on Amazon. So this is for instructional design for healthcare professionals. This is something that I've been running for the last 7-8 years with NSG. Then we have artificial intelligence for health professionals. This is the AI HP program. So we got 2 books with that. AI HP book And another one is promptology, not proctology, but promptology. It teaches you all the various types of prompts that you use, how to design prompts for healthcare professionals. Promptology is a science and an art. One of the reasons, if you got to keep using it to understand it, I spend about 3.5 hours a day in the working day and about 8 hours to 10 hours in the weekends on ChatGPT. But that's not my only thing. I also use Gemini and Copilot. So these are the other workshops. We have the art and science of qualitative research. So this is what we're going to do on 17th, all incorporating AI, general research for healthcare. We recently ran one for data analysis and synthetic data creation for a health informatics university in Malaysia. Then we got basically on prompting, so how to use generative AI for prompting and for teaching and learning generally, not just for healthcare profession. Then we have AI for academic writing. So we get people, so we do the AI research workshop first, and then a couple of months later, we do the AI academic writing. So it's a series of programs. So they collect their data. Once they've written the research proposal, they go right there, collect the data, they come back, they do the analysis and writing, get the manuscript up by the end of the day. And there's a book that goes with that. Just show you what it can do. I assume I press this button forward.
Okay, I want you to now act as a patient so that I could learn how to take a good history. So I want you to act as though you have chest pain that is of acute onset, and we will get into a conversation. I hope you understand this.
Sure, I understand. Let's start. I'm feeling a sudden, sharp pain in my chest. It started about an hour ago. The pain is quite severe and seems to be in the center of my chest. It's not like anything I've felt before. I haven't done anything strenuous today that could have caused it. I'm feeling a bit short of breath as well. I'm really worried about what could be causing this.
Do you feel sweaty now?
I won't go too much into that. So that's simulation. But 10 years ago, trying to get a simulated patient using AI or technology cost 25,000, 30,000 US dollars. This costs 20 US dollars a month. And the advantage of this, so we're doing all the validation at the moment. So it's a great opportunity to validate a lot of the data that's coming out of the generative AI. So when we teach validation, we do evidence-based validation. So in our workshop, we spend about 20% of the time teaching our participants how to validate that response. But here's an opportunity for people to do research on how you could take the responses, validate with evidence, and publish it. So then you know that this instrument is validated. So these are the various available chatbots that I have created with for specific purposes to increase my productivity and my efficiency. Some of them are available. I tell my students who come from NUS, go and learn from my hand surgery companion. And then for higher order thinking, they come back to me. You can design this with higher order thinking. So it's up to you on how you create the bot and what are the knowledge base that you're going to use. I won't go through all of them, but these are the various things that are available. This is our next workshop. This is 1/3 the price. This is at the University of Malaya. It's a 2-day workshop for 100 ringgit. The one in NSG is 1,000 US dollars. This is the one in research that's on the 17th of August. This is the one in NSG on the 4th and 11th November. I think it's $1,000, but I think places are limited. If you want to come, you have to come for both. So the first day is you get to do the practice on all the platforms, and then you got homework to do. Then you bring your homework back on the second time and present what you have done. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Pak Kuntan. Thank you for sharing with us all the things that,
2 questions, but I do know that many of my colleagues, they want to start their clinics. So the first one is that we are in this business, all of us in health professions, to develop a caring, compassionate practitioner, clinical practitioner. So in that sense, how could AI help? I think Professor Su mentioned a bit about that delta, but in practical terms, from your experience, how have you seen that AI being used to develop this caring, compassionate clinical practitioner? The second question, very quickly, is that we are now just this week. European Union started, they enacted the AI regulations. Some say that they are very strict and it stifles innovation. How would you see? Because I do know that in many places, including NUS and NUHS, I just heard we are developing guidelines and regulations. How would these regulations help or stifle innovation? Is there a danger? Thank you.
I think it's two good questions. The first thing about empathy and the affection, the professionalism that we talk about, the attitude. So this concept known as effective computing. The computing the computer, generative AI, conversational AI, especially with for Omni, has got greater empathy than the human. So this is something that is. So Changi Hospital bought the first palliative robot to provide palliation. As a human, we are dependent on our emotion. And if my wife just pissed me off in the morning, I'm not going to be very empathetic when I reach my clinic. However, if you have conversed with the generative AI, it always remains empathetic, because it has got no emotion. By removing that emotion, so that's one important aspect of it. And that is why when you use conversational AI, not just generative AI, so now we're going on to conversational AI, I can train my students through empathy and how to do that. And you can see it's extremely patient. The second thing about AU laws, and I think here is very important, you must understand how Singapore works. So the Ministry of Education is using generative AI to give feedback to all the kids. It started at the year 5 primary children. But there's a human loop. Every response is checked by a human before it goes out. So that's the human element cannot be removed. Coming to EU's regulations, EU regulations, it is quite restrictive. And I like Singapore's attitude is much better. I also sit on the ethics panel in the Ministry of Health. So we just go back to the ethics. I don't want to control knife. How long can you manufacture a knife? What kind of material? But if you kill somebody with a knife, I will hang you. So let's just go back. The impact, the ethical impact of generative AI should be what we should look at in terms of governance. But I think the more important thing is how to use it ethically and morally. And this is where clinicians must be talking to engineers. In the last 3 years, for the 3 textbooks on engineering textbooks, I've contributed a chapter to them to say that doctors need to sit with engineers when they design and develop AI models. Yeah. I think very important to realize it's not the technology, it's not that, it's just a form that is going to enable us. So the term this is in China, they've been using this for about more than 5 years ago. I remember I gave a talk to Sengkang Hospital on AI and health professional education, and they call it the intelligent tutoring system works better than the human tutor system because it's 24/7. And that's what I do. So when we create subject matter experts to create your own knowledge-based rag chat, where they can then keep going and practicing it. Now, the other aspects that's coming up about assessment, and I am very surprised to hear NUS has banned teachers from using AI to assess. Now, if you give me an assignment, if I'm going to spend my time marking that as a clinician, I've got patients to see, I would rather use AI to mark it. The end of the product, next Friday, I'm running a workshop on using AI for assessment in high-stake exam in a technology university. We're going to incorporate. If it can assist me in doing that final outcome, our objective in assessment is you have changed behavior. That's the whole purpose of education. And how do I assess that? And that's where we, in the clinical healthcare profession, we have got OSCEs. OSCEs, that means direct observation of procedures, and we can actually see skills being done. And this is where the whole assessment framework has to change from the university levels or based on generative AI. The second thing is curriculum development has to change. Medical curriculum has to change to incorporate generative AI skills for not only faculty members, but also students. Critical thinking. That's it. So this is just a tool. So I think in my workshop, 20% of the time, we teach them about prompting and we teach them about evaluating, validating through evidence. That is critical thinking. So if you don't have critical thinking, so the guy on the street using ChatGPT to get his answer should be different from me. My validation process is faster because I'm a subject matter expert. And this critical thinking, I have improved my critical thinking because of generative AI in the last 1 year plus. So I think the critical thinking is that very important aspect that we need to teach. And in that respect, I must also say that there is the bias, understanding the biases in generative AI. So Singapore Singapore government has put in $70 million to create our own language model based on our